Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have from right here in Upton, we have a fellow Upton person, Carey, and she's with us. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks, Jan.
And Kelly is an author, and she has written a book called How to Get Started as a Children's Writer. I don't know how many of you out there have thought about that. I was just telling her, I said my mother was thinking of that too, never did it.
No, so I actually have done presentations on how to become a children's writer.
Yeah.
But my book is a children's book that's going to be coming out in the spring.
Oh, so your children's
book. The book that's coming out is called How Long Is Forever. It's a picture book. But I have done presentations on how to become a children's author.
Yeah.
So you were saying that your mother used to tell you stories and think about writing all the time. And I had mentioned to Jan that I think so often people have this plan to become a children's writer or a dream in their heart to become a children's writer. Yeah. But making that leap to actually sitting down and doing it is where I think most people get stuck.
When did you start being interested?
So I think like a lot of folks, I really started thinking about it when I had my own kids, and you're picking up books all the time and you're reading to your own children. Yeah. And you start thinking this is fun and I'd like to do this, or you start thinking I could do it better. So,
why not?
So that's kind of when it started. And I took a class with the Children's Institute of Writing out of Reading, Connecticut, which at the time was a correspondence class. Works great. They give you
right on the computer.
Oh, no, this is before computers. When I tell you correspondence, I mean snail mail. You get your assignment, you would write your assignment up, you'd send it back in, and you could kind of do it at your pace. Yeah. They still offer that. Now it's online on the computer, and they're fabulous.
How long did it take?
So the nice thing about that, how long did it take me to take that class?
Yeah.
The class is great because you really can set your own pace. Mm-hmm. So if you really did it once a week, I think it's 12 lessons, so you could do it in 12 weeks.
Oh, wow.
But you can kind of take a break and decide, my life is not built around being able to...
I thought you were going to tell me years.
No. It'll take you years to get published.
Oh,
it definitely will.
Unless you self-publish.
Unless you self-publish, but even then, I think that it can take you 2 to 3 years just to get your manuscript to a place where you really should feel that it's polished and confident enough to put out into the world. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely...
Were you always interested in books?
No.
No?
Yeah, I think that I'm kind of an anomaly that way. I think so many writers are like, oh yeah, I used to read and read and read, and I don't know why. I was kind of one of those kids that reading just didn't come naturally to me. No, I had my best friend growing up in middle school, she just carved through those Nancy Drew novels.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were her. You probably had your entire bookshelf and you read them
just
all.
a few. I like mysteries. That was the thing.
She gave me that mystery of the 49 steps. Yeah, 49 years later, I still haven't finished it. It just wasn't in me. Yeah. But what I did have was, I just loved the idea of creating characters.
Yeah.
So when I was little, I read this book. It's still out there. It's called Ophelia's World.
Yeah.
It's the coolest book. It's a woman that used to do displays for stores.
Yeah.
So she took these teddy bears and she dressed them up in all these cool things, and she created characters behind them, and she wrote this book called Ophelia's World, Tales of a Parisian Shopgirl. Well, the Parisian Shopgirl was just one of her bears dressed up. Yeah. And she did this with all of these stuffed animals, and as a middle schooler, I'm looking around my room going, I have stuffed animals.
Yeah, me too. I have tons of them.
Right. So let's create characters for them. Yeah. So, old days, the typewriter, tick, 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 and I created little bios for all my bears. So I don't think I was reading, but I was definitely still creating, and I was interested in writing, thinking of stories and creating these characters. So I kind of think it was always there.
So when you left high school, did you go to college to major in literacy?
Nope. So
you're like I am. You could totally different.
No, I went. Well, I did go for communication in English. Yeah. And then I think 2 things happened in college. I think I watched way too much Dynasty and decided that I had to become...
We watched Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I watched Dynasty and Falcon's Crest. And so I thought I had to be one of those high-powered women with the business suits and the giant earrings. Yeah. So I went to work for insurance. And also when I was in college, I did take a creative writing class. But I had a really great childhood, and I sat down in this writing class, and all these fellow students were writing these like terrifically like angsty and biting essays and topics, and they were talking about things that I had barely even seen on TV, let alone experienced enough in my life to write about. So I kind of thought, okay, I'm good. You know, I wrote about my bears, but I don't really have anything else to offer, and I really walked away from it.
Yeah.
So it can happen.
So did the teacher not encourage you, the instructor?
I'm sure they did, but you
didn't matter.
Yeah, I think I think that is a big thing with this industry is that self-doubt is just can be crushing, and it can really stop you in your tracks. And so much of this industry is going to be about rejection. I mean, you're going to there is not an author out there that doesn't have a popular book that can't tell you that they've had dozens and dozens of rejections before.
That's why when I have my authors on here, I also help them get it out there. I get them scheduled to be as a publicist, not a publisher. And I always tell them, I always prefer the self-publishing, I said, because you can pick your own cover. A regular publisher will leave you, once you're accepted, oh, that's nice, but they're going to rule what your cover is, and they're not going to they're not going to serve as your publicist. You're on your own. So what happens is if you self-publish, you grab a hold of someone like me or something like that, you've already made your cover, you've created it yourself, and you start getting out bang, 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 just like that. And you're not wasting 2 or 3 years waiting.
It is a lot of waiting to go traditional.
Now, she brought some great, show us what you got there. Tell us about what you're doing.
So, so I've got 3 hints that I like to share with people about becoming a writer. And actually, this I turned into a blog on the website that I share with 3 other gals. It's called 24 Karat Writing. Yep. So the hints seem pretty straightforward, but they're really not. The first one is to write. The second one is to find your squad. And the last one is to read. But you can't just have this intention to write. You really have to have goals around your writing. So I have a partner in writing who she sets out her goal to write 20 minutes a day, 365 days a year, even Christmas, and she sticks to it. And I think that is what really helps her be successful. I tend to do writing Wednesdays. So Wednesdays, my family will know there are no chores getting done. Yeah. Dinner's going to be takeout, and I'm probably going to be wearing whatever you saw me wearing when you left the house in the morning. Pajamas. Because writing Wednesdays for writing. So be really intentional with your writing. Really decide that you're going to make an effort to put these ideas on paper. The second one is to find your squad, because like we talked about, there's an awful lot of rejection in this industry. Yes. And I also think so much of writing is just you in your head with your computer or your paper. Yep. But you really need to get it out there and have it critiqued and make sure that what you thought you were getting down on paper actually translates to a reader. Okay. So part of finding your squad is finding a critique group. Okay. And the last one I would suggest is to read. Read it. Yeah, and you can't just read like you do when you kick back on a snuggly couch with a cup of coffee or on a beach. Yeah. You need to read in the genre you want to write in. So if you want to write for middle schoolers, you need to be reading middle grade books. Yep. And you need to be writing like text.
How to find your squad? That is interesting. Some people have a lot of friends and others don't.
Yeah, So, well, that's what people say. Well, how do I find these critique group people, Kelly? Okay. So the first one, this is kind of the gold standard. This is the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And you'll know you've made it as a writer when you can let SCBWI drip off your tongue like nothing.
And what is it? Kirkus reviews are cool.
Kirkus reviews are cool, hard to get.
I know, I've had a couple of my authors have gotten those.
So Kirkus reviews are cool, but SCBWI is this great network of people, and they have regional workshops and conferences and give you an opportunity to connect with each other and learn. The Writers Loft is local. I love this place. Right in Sherborn. This is a group of writers. You can pop in and just quiet write if you need a space to write. It really is
Do they share? Do they share their books with each other?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So this is where you'll find critique groups where you can talk to each other about your writing. 24 Karat Writing's my blog that I share with the 3 other gals. Yeah. So if you want some hints on how to get going and started and stay on track, that's your spot. And these last 3 are all online places. So if you're not ready to kind of get out there and meet people, and you kind of just want to, spy around the background. Sure. These are all challenges that you can find online that you can do.
Story Storm, National Novel Writing?
So Story Storm just ended in January. This is a great challenge by a woman named Tara Lazar. So you go online. She gives you different industry professionals to help give you ideas of where to get your ideas to write from every day of the month of January, and every day she challenges you to come up with one story idea.
I love that.
So it's great. The nice thing is it sets you up, because now at the end of January you've got 30 ideas, and then you can spend the rest of the year really writing them and getting them getting them set up.
National Novel Writing Month is.
So, yeah, here's another one. This is Nanowrimo. If you are interested in writing novels, definitely look into this group.
Yeah.
They are fabulous. They're all over the country. Locally, when National Novel Writing Month happens, which is in November, they'll meet at the Barnes & Noble. They'll meet in Burlington at Barnes & Noble. They'll meet in Natick. They'll pick different coffee shops, and you kind of will all sit down to write and motivate each other. Because that's kind of the big thing. Yeah, you really need a crew to stay motivated.
Writing books they just had over in Rhode Island. It was in Cranston. It had the Authors Expo, Roads on the Patuxent, and it was 135 authors. A lot of them, we've had a tsunami of them on here, but once they meet me, they go, well, here's my card, But, or here's the book.
Yeah.
But that was an excellent one. There's also an excellent one every July in Danversport, and a beautiful, I could tell you, I have to know all these things to send these people there, but it's amazing, all the books out there. And once you get out there, not only do you get to rub elbows with other authors, and they can say, well, gee, I know someone who would like to have you come speak.
Yeah.
Even if you don't sell one book, I tell my authors, do not get discouraged. Have someone with you at your expo or whatever, your fair, wherever you're going, so that you can get up, not just to go to the bathroom, carry your book, walk around, start talking to the other authors, get their information, because they may be key to getting you somewhere else.
Yeah. I have found, I think sometimes people are nervous to get out there, and you really, especially in the kidlit community.
You can't be.
No, and I think people we're all kind of kids at heart, and the bottom line is we kind of all just really want to get really good books into young readers' hands, and I don't care where the book comes from or how we get it into their hands, I just want to make it happen. So if I can make that happen by encouraging you with your writing, I'm going to do that. And so I find that within the community, different authors are really great about giving you advice or helping you meet new contacts, introducing you to bookstore owners that might want to sell your books. So
we're talking with Carey, and she is an Upton person. She is she's an author, and her book comes out in
spring of 2020 through Charles Bridge. Yep.
Okay, and she talks about how to get started as a children's writer. Now you have another poster for us.
This one is actually just my book that's coming out.
Oh, that's the book that she's got coming out.
So this is what's coming out.
Okay.
So what's coming out is the book is called How Long is Forever, and it's traditionally published through Charles Bridge, spring of 2020. And these are just my hints because the artwork is in process right now. So it's going to feature a cornfield and an elm tree and blueberry pie.
Now, which will be your cover?
None of these will be my cover.
Well, what are those going to be inside?
So these are just hints of what it's going to look like inside, the subject matter. The illustrator is actually working right now.
Good for you.
And I've actually been really fortunate. I know you said a lot of times in traditional publishing you don't get a say in your cover.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I necessarily really wanted to be in charge of that. I don't have an artistic eye that way. I'm not an illustrator. But my editor at Charles Bridge has been really fantastic about showing things.
Right. You've got one of the smaller, we're not talking Random House.
No.
This is great. There's a lot of the smaller ones are popping up, and they're a little more liberal in letting you have a hand. Yeah. Now, also, you have been.
These are different, though.
These are cool. You've had articles in. Which one do you want to go first?
So these are kind of fun only because these are two made me cover girls. I say so. These are. I have fiction stories in both of these. This is Clubhouse Junior magazine. So and
what age group?
These are, I would say, elementary school is kind of the best bet for these.
Okay.
Clubhouse also has a magazine called Just Clubhouse that'll be more for middle school kids. So these are Clubhouse Juniors.
Clubhouse Junior. Where would you get this? Barnes and Noble? Or
these you would need to. These you wouldn't be able to buy locally. These you would have to subscribe to Clubhouse Junior online. But you can definitely do that.
Oh, neat.
But this is exactly what you were saying, where you send your manuscript in, they buy your manuscript, and then you just kind of cross your fingers and you hope. And I have no idea what the pictures are going to look like.
Where's your article?
What it's going to be laid out. Well, here's Dolphin Queen. Until it comes. So it's really kind of neat when it comes because, you kind of think, I wrote this story and what is it that the illustrator or the editor thought was interesting enough? Was interesting enough to illustrate, and what did they make the characters look like?
These articles for these magazines, the Frog
these are
Days
both
of
fiction
Summer,
stories,
and then the Dolphin Queen Valentine.
Yeah. I've actually written 13 stories for Clubhouse Junior. My next one will be out in May.
Do you have any more copies
One
of these
dog
magazines?
too many. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, because I want to read them too.
Yep.
Now, most of us girls out there know Girls World, right? Okay. I still find some cute crafts in here for me.
Yeah. This one was kind of fun for me because.
Where's your article?
So the fun thing about Girls World for me was that I'm like, I'm rubbing elbows with, there's famous people in this magazine, you know? So it makes you feel a little bit special when that happens. So this is mine. This is the Embarrassing Sleepover. So this is another fiction story.
Oh.
This was actually inspired by something that happened to my daughter and one of her friends right here in town when they were little. They're now in college and would be mortified to think that it was inspired by them. But there you go.
Yeah.
So that was that one. This was my first one in Girls World.
When did this come out?
April of last year, is that right?
2017.
Yeah.
And these are pretty.
This is my most recent one. This is 2018. This was last year.
Now, how do people subscribe to these, Kelly?
Focus on the Family Clubhouse Junior. You could probably just go online.
Just go online.
Yeah, would be probably the best way to do it.
Now, how can people get a hold of you if they'd like to have you come speak? And also your book coming up.
I know, my book's coming out. I'm really excited for it. The best way to reach me is through my website. So it's kcarywrites.com, or you can find me on email at kellycarey508@gmail.com.
Now, it's Kelly, Kelly, Carey,
Carey, yeah.
Now, what's your website, Kelly?
So I've got two websites. I have an author website that's just mine. So that's the kcarywrites.com. And the website that we have for writers is 24 Karat Writing.
Yeah.
So that's the one I share with 3 other local authors. And that whole website is a blog that we blog every week for other authors, and what we're trying to encourage people to do is to work on their writing craft, to set their writing goals, to keep their writing goals.
Where would you like to appear? If somebody out there would love to book you, couldn't do a gig, where would you? Libraries anywhere? School?
Oh, libraries, bookstores. I just finished teaching a workshop at the Hopkins Center for the Arts for middle schoolers.
Oh, I know that place.
I loved hanging out with those kids, so we did a whole workshop on how to create really deep characters.
They're active over there.
Yeah.
It's not just art exhibits. They're doing
they
drama?
do fantastic. They started kind of as drama. They used to be Enter Stage Left. My daughter did it years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's this beautiful barn, so there's singing lessons, music lessons, art lessons, and
I've been there for the art exhibits. I remember that.
Yeah, you can walk in any time.
It's an
They've
old
got
house.
beautiful exhibits now.
Yeah.
Okay, it used to just be the old house, and then there was kind of an old barn in the back.
Right.
That whole old barn has been completely refurbed, and it's a beautiful theater where they put on
That's
plays
where they're
and
putting
musical
the plays
entertainments.
on over there.
Oh, go.
I was always wondering,
Yes.
where are they fitting the kids in the play?
Oh, fantastic.
Did your kids go in?
So when my kids did it, the barn wasn't up yet. So when they were doing the plays, they were doing them in schools. So they were doing the Hopkinton Middle Schools. Yeah,
That is so cool.
it was really great. There's something really great about letting a kid get on stage for their confidence. I mean,
What do your kids think about your book coming up? Have they read it?
oh yeah.
Okay, what do they think?
So they're excited. Your kids can kind of be your biggest cheerleaders by it, and
and critic,
and
my son
which is
critique
good though
it.
too.
Yeah.
So and when I first started, my kids were in preschool and nursery school, and it was kind of neat because I would come in and read.
Yeah.
So now I'm reading the magazine articles to their classmates, and they're the right age for these stories.
Yeah, definitely.
So and they were it's kind of neat to see your kid proud of you. You always hear that kids want your parent to be proud of you. It's kind of neat when it flips around. So
Where have you been? Have you given any presentations yet? Any speeches?
I've done Hopkins Center for the Arts.
Yeah.
I've visited with the kids at Whitensville Christian School, and then right across the street from you is United Parish Nursery School. Had me in to do
I
some
hear a lot
presentations,
about them.
too.
Oh yeah. So you were actually the little kids over at the parish. That's
That was really fun. Yeah, and I try to read them a story and then have a craft that kind of goes along with the story.
so you brought a craft thing too?
Yeah, so the story that we read with them was Carpet Square Face Off, about kids that were fighting over which carpet square they would get because no one wanted like the ugly brown or the putrid green one. So we read the whole story and the moral, that whole story, and then we pretended to give the kids little carpet squares, construction paper, and they'd tape it on, and we made them think of something bad that the carpet square could be. So, like, I don't know, if it was brown, it would be like an ugly piece of mud or something. And if it was brown, maybe it could be a chocolate bar. So we kind of talked to them about attitude and how.
I imagine you had a couple of boys in there who thought of something else.
Oh, it was great because I just had them like randomly grabbing out carpet squares, and when there were some kids that grabbed out a color they weren't really excited about, they just had to kind of run with it. So
we should get you over here in our own Upton library so you can get with the kids that come in here.
Yeah, I've been talking to
Matt,
to the folks here at the Upton Library.
Oh,
so
definitely. And there's so many libraries around that are so open to authors.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's wonderful. And also, you got Tatnuck. Wait till you get to Tatnuck.
Yeah, I actually was just at Tatnuck. So Tatnuck had a panel of a bunch of writers, actually from the Writers Loft in Sherburne I was talking about. They just produced an anthology of poetry.
Yeah.
So they have invited 4 of the authors in to read from their anthology of poetry, and it's called An Assortment of Animals. It's fantastic.
Were you there?
So yeah, okay, I went to support. Yeah, we all show up to support each other. Yeah.
I mean, we talk about Tatnuck a lot, and it's you walk in. It's obviously geared to a lot of us girls. At first, guys don't worry about it, but it's like you got all the tchotchkes,
in the front,
jewelry, all this. Yeah. Then you get into the back with all the books, and what I love is in the very back they have those little chairs, those easy chairs. You can just sit in and be quiet. I love that. Yeah. That's a nice big presentation room.
It does. We are really lucky in this area. We have some great bookstores. Tatnuck is fabulous. Unlikely Story down in Plainville is. I'm a big proponent of them because they serve wine and beer.
Have you been up to Book Loves Gourmet in Webster?
I haven't.
You would love it. I'll write it down for you.
All right, I would love that.
Deb Horan runs that, and I send a lot of the authors up there. It's cozy. She loves her authors. Yeah. It's a bookstore.
In Webster.
You'll love it.
All right, I love that.
Yeah, you would.
And there's a new one that just opened in Holliston called Aesop's Fable. Brand new.
Is it for children?
It's so new I haven't really been in. No, I think it's both.
There is one in Sutton, and we were on the show. She was on the show. It's basically for children, but they'll have other authors there too.
Oh yeah, Enchanted Passage.
Enchanted Passage.
Oh yes, if you have a kid,
to get there.
I have been there. If you have a kid, you have to go to Enchanted Passage because you could spend a whole day there. It's almost like going to a children's museum.
Yeah.
Because the books are all arranged in this beautiful old colonial home by theme. So it's the pirate.
Wait till your book comes out. You're going to be running.
Yeah. I would love to get in there. That's a great space.
You should have a great time.
So, and up in Acton, Silver Unicorn, tiny little, great, adorable place that has really good. So, we're really lucky in this area.
Yeah,
so get your kids out to a bookstore.
Okay, before we close, how again can they reach you?
So the best way to reach me is through my website. So it's Carey Writes, and it's KCAREW Writes.com, or 24 Karat Writing. You can Google that.
What would you suggest to somebody who's interested in writing a children's book, besides meeting with you, of course? How do they, like my mother used to talk about it, but to do it, she would have been great.
Yeah, it really is just, I would start with 20 minutes a day, maybe 5 days a week, and you really just have to sit down and start putting the stories on paper. And I think once you give that some time and energy, you'll start to get excited about it and want it to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. And when you move to that point, that first one I told you about, that Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, they're really the great place to start. I mean, don't be scared by the fact that it's a big, long name.
Yeah.
But they've got great workshops for beginners. The Writers Loft has great workshops for beginners.
And there's a writers group in Worcester. I think we went to film there one time. The old Tatnuck building, which is a cafe now.
I don't know.
Off of Park Avenue, the old Tatnuck bookshop was over there, and we went in there, and it's a supportive book group.
Yeah.
Writing group.
There's also in Boston. There's a group called Grub Street.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and they're great.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in writing, and not just for children, Grub Street kind of covers everything: memoirs, biographies, poetry.
Yeah.
And they run workshops all the time and do conferences. So they're a wonderful group.
There is another one in Sutton. I bet you'd love it. The Sutton Writers Group, and one of our best authors who's on a lot, and her name completely goes, I can see her face sitting there. She runs that, and she is terrific. The Sutton Writers Group, they meet at, I believe, the Sutton Library.
Yeah.
Top shelf, really nice.
Yeah.
I think Milford Library has one,
too.
Yeah,
you can definitely find critique groups everywhere. I think so many people are afraid that, I'm just starting out, or I don't really know what I'm doing. We all started there somewhere, and this is a really warm, welcoming group.
But you're so disciplined. You definitely take your 20 minutes.
You have to be intentional about it.
Once I would get into it, I would keep going. I'd be sitting there for hours.
That's what happens. That's kind of the beauty of that 20 minutes, because if you're really into it, you sit down and start writing, you'll pick your head up again and realize that 3 hours have gone by.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be just 20 minutes.
Oh, heck no.
Okay, I took that.
No.
I was like, how am I going to do that?
No, you have to commit to at least 20 minutes, I guess is what I should have said.
And you were disciplined.
You did it. You have to sit down and do it. Yeah.
And your kids knew it. Your family all left you alone.
Yeah. Writing Wednesdays were what I would do. So my friend did the 20 minutes. I did the writing Wednesdays.
And you did the writing on Wednesdays.
So yeah. I mean, now it's so much easier that my kids are older and in college, so I can definitely carve out a heck of a lot more time.
Is there another book coming?
So I have about 20 manuscripts that I'm shopping around. So yeah, hopefully there will be.
She's got another book. But okay, it comes out June.
Spring of 2020, yep,
Okay.
through Charles Bridge, and it's going to be called How Long Is Forever. And it's Mason is waiting for his grandmother's blueberry pie to be finished, and his grandfather scoffs that he has no idea how long forever is, and even though Mason complains that it's taking forever,
Yeah.
and it sends him off on a search around the family farm to
We'll
prove
have her
that he
back on.
knows forever.
We've got to get you back on because then we'll be able to see the book.
Oh, I'd love that.
And don't forget, downstairs we have a dedicated author's wall in the library.
Yeah,
They put their books down there. It's
you know I'll be reading it down
it's
there.
another great way to get that book out there for
Yeah.
people to see.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us. We'll
Thanks
have you
for
back.
inviting
We
me. I'd
will.
love to come back.
All righty. Well, take care. We'll see you next time.
Thanks,
I'll be
Jen.
my guest.